Are you ready? It's here, the brand new Shorter Than Short Mike DJ Kelly podcast.
This is the Mike DJ Kelly podcast. This is the Mike Kelly podcast.
Mike Kelly.
Yes, here we are with another action-packed audio adventure that's all squeezed and crammed into what we call the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast. Thanks for finding your way back, or welcome along if it's your first time with us. Where are you listening to us? What time are you listening to us? What are you doing while you're listening to us? Get in touch and let us know. Contact details a little later. Testing 1, 2, 3. Are we ready to go? Yes, sir. Chocks away.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
So let's crack on. Let's have a blast. Let's have a hoot. Let's press on and see if there's anything out there that might lift our spirits as we go headfirst into the bizarre world of 2021.
On this week's podcast.
Coming up on this Shorter Than Short podcast, Wikipedia, Tipping Point, The Lady in the Shower, Lord Sumption, Ravens, James Bond, King of Clubs, things we've not heard of for a while, and a whole lot more. Did have a bizarre time for a while with a double lockdown whammy, as if not bad enough to be told to stay at home and work from home, to then get snowed in for 2 days.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
According to the press, one of the ravens at the Tower of London is feared to have died. According to the Raven Master, Christopher Scaife, who confirmed Melina, the Queen of the Tower and the unkindest of the ravens, is presumed dead. This would mean the tower is close to having less than 6 ravens, a level that would spell doom for the kingdom, according to legend. Doom. I'm thinking of Dad's army. We're all doomed. But seriously, can things get any worse? It's a strange old world when people get fined for going 20 miles for a burger, but 80-year-olds are being sent 150 miles for a jab.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Have to say, I think the Meerkat sponsorship of Coronation Street was much better than the new sponsors, Argos. Talking of adverts, what adverts make you change channels? For me, it's donkeys on staircases, injured or neglected animals, and all the malnourished or going blind children. In fact, I now avoid some channels just because I know I will not like the adverts. I think the one that makes me gag the most is the Calgol advert, where he has his hand in the putrid gunk liquid in the washing machine drum. Never mind changing channels, crossing the channel is becoming more exciting. Dutch TV has shown footage of custom officers confiscating ham sandwiches from drivers arriving by ferry from the UK under post-Brexit rules banning personal imports of meat and dairy products into the EU. Just listen to the notable podcast about Batley Variety Club with Stuart McConey and Elizabeth Olker. So good that I've now gone and bought the book about the club, which is called The King of Clubs by Maureen Prest. I'll let you know how it goes.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Some news from Twitter. Chris Duffy, putting my astrophysical hat on for a minute. There are billions of stars in our galaxy alone and billions of galaxies in the universe. Most of the stars have planets in orbit of them, so the likelihood is that aliens very much do exist. Sheena, people that cut pizzas with scissors, they're the ones we should be worried about. Grant, just been reading about triple cooked chips like it's something new. My mum invented them in 1978, once for Dad's dinner, warmed up again when he was late home from a club, and warmed up again when they'd finished arguing. If you want to send your own stories for the next episode, email or send cuttings and sound clips to hello@MikeDJKelly.co.uk or on Twitter @MikeKellyDisco. Don't forget to tell us where you're listening, what time you're listening, and what you're doing while you're listening.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Competition time. Guess the song. What song are these lyrics from? Jealousy turning saints into the sea, swimming through sick lullabies. Name the song or the artiste. The line again. Jealousy turning saints into the sea, swimming through sick lullabies. Okie dokie, let's reminisce with words and things you don't hear as often as they used to be used. Let's start with as mad as a box of frogs, popular in the UK but not used in America. Wake up and smell the coffee, used to tell someone they are wrong about a particular situation and must realise what is really happening. Finally for now, my favourite, stud muffin. I seem to remember it being very popular in the 70s. Insert stud muffin. Let me say that differently. Insert the word stud muffin in Google search and the first result is from the Longman Dictionary of Contemporary English. Stud muffin, noun. An attractive man who is very good at sex, who has sex with a lot of people. Interestingly, the third result was stud muffins are a ridiculously tasty range of horse treats containing a host of beneficial ingredients including linseed, fenugreek and whole grains to ensure they are as delicious as they are nutritious. Sword fighting is a thing you used to have a lot of, but these days there's very little of it. It was a weekly occurrence on Judge John Deed. It was a frequent feature with Steed in The Avengers. The only recent sword fight was when Ken Barlow challenged someone in a nursing hole to a duel. But to be honest, it looked a little out of place in 2020.
This is the Short of the Short, Mike Kelly podcast.
You'd think with all the NHS hospitals full and admitting new patients every 30 seconds that the government would have commandeered all the private hospitals to help, as unlike the Florence Nightingale hospitals, they have staff. Just a thought, if a routine test or scan appointment came through, would you take it at present? I got one, but decided to give it a miss. The last thing you want to do is find you have something and then be told you can't be treated for 4 years.
This is the Short of the Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Today's do-gooders can be found at roadpeace.org. Road Peace is the national charity for road crash victims in the UK. We provide information and support service to people bereaved or seriously injured in road crashes and engage in evidence-based policy and campaigning work to fight for justice for victims and reduce road danger. Set up in 1992 by a mother whose son was killed by a red light offender, we are a membership organisation whose work is informed by the needs and experience of road crash victims. Road Peace is governed by a board of trustees, has a small staff team and a network of active members and volunteers. Our vision is for a world where road danger is not tolerated and where road crash victims receive justice and compassion. To find out more or to help or to give, go to roadpeace.org. Quotes and cuts of this show may be used, but remember all material has to be got from somewhere and somebody has to put some effort into getting it to you. So please credit us, that's the Mike DJ Kelly Shorter Than Short podcast. It's a while since I've mentioned the world-beating Terry and Trace app. Just had a search for NHS Test and Trace app and now it's called the NHS COVID-19 app. Very little mention of Test and Trace. Guess the celebrity? Born the 21st of February 1976, he is an English comedian, writer and television presenter. In 2012, he was the highest grossing stand-up comedian in the world. He resides in Hampstead with his aromatherapist wife, Kitty. Who is he?
This is the Short of the Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Don't forget, pod pickers, if you want to get in touch about anything to do with the Shorter Than Short podcast show, please use the following to contact us. And if you have any stories for the next episode, email cuttings or sound clips to hello@mikedjkelly.co.uk, on Twitter at Mike Kelly Disco. If you have time, it would be appreciated if you could give us a review on iTunes.
This is the Short of the Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
I see they have called off all Palace Garden parties for 2021, and that after the Queen and Prince Philip have had their jabs. What's happened to No Time to Die, the 25th instalment in the Bond franchise, marking Daniel Craig's final appearance as British Secret Service Agent 007. Well, according to the Beeb, the premiere of No Time to Die has already been moved from April to November because of the pandemic. The film has now been further delayed until the 2nd of April 2021 in order to be seen by a worldwide theatrical audience. A lot of people saying on social media it will be out of date before it's launched, which reminds me that I should share and name drop that I used to work for Roger Moore. Yes, he owned Leeds' first wine bar, Grob's Wine Bar. I was his resident DJ. When that was demolished, he opened Heads and Tails Wine Bar, and I worked in the cellar bar as the DJ.
This is the Short of the Short Mike Kelly podcast.
Talking of films and TV, my wife likes watching Midsummer Murders on ITV3, which means we are subject to that channel's adverts, the main one being the lady who takes the shower or sit-down baths every few minutes. Intrigued, I googled her name to find it was Becky G. To find more and what G stood for, I searched Becky G shower, only to get Becky G is an American singer-songwriter and actress. Shower is a song by American singer Becky G. Turns out this imposter is Rebecca Marie Gomez, known professionally by her stage name Becky G. Not to give up, I tried searching Becky G assistive bathing and got Alan Sharman Agency. Height 5'7", bust 32, cut B, waist 26, hips 35, dress 8 to 10, shoe 5, eye blue, hair brown, but no surname, just G. But it does tell you and show all her adverts for Halfords, Oven Pride, Interflora, Feversham Arms, Infinite Cookware and Tops Tiles. More good news. Assistive Bathing is really excited to share that we'll be sponsoring ITV Mornings beginning Monday, the 1st of April. The campaign, which runs nationally, will be seen by more than 1.2 million adults every month and airs between 6 a.m. and 12 p.m. every day of the week, with 48 adverts every day. Better add a PS. Watch the assistive bathroom ad being made, and Rebecca G is not on her own in the bathroom. There are loads of people in there.
This is the Short of the Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Remember in the old days, if you'd got to get up early, you would book an alarm call on the phone? Why did we do it? We all had alarm clocks. Remember telegrams? They were the highlights of the wedding card readings at the wedding ceremony, delivered by the telegram boy on his little red post office moped.
This is the Short of the Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Wife's just bought a tablet for £230-ish and realised £40 of it is tax. Have you noticed that ITV business reporter Joel Hills is often given his TV piece from between a doorway and what looks like a fireplace outside? On Tipping Point, Ben asked the question, what is the name of the two flower pot men? Tricky, I say. Followed by Bradders on the Chase Celebrity Special, wearing a poppy in January, cheap TV reruns, still showing Place in the Sun, even though all the flight corridors have been shut down. How many people have holiday homes but have not been able to get to them for more than a year?
This is the Short of the Short Mike Kelly podcast.
If you want to get in touch with this top-rated, much-listened-to podcast, please contact hello@MikeDJKelly.co.uk on email, on Twitter @MikeKellyDisco. Indeed, if you want a podcast making for your business or need any help with radio producer or presentation work, please get in touch. You can always get the Mike DJ Kelly podcast by going to iTunes or Spotify or any major download site or search engine and searching Mike DJ Kelly, and please do tell your mates about the Short of and Short podcast. On Twitter, Omid Dajali. Not so long ago, I could travel freely all over Europe. Now I'm not allowed to leave my house. Life is so much better under this government, hoping it won't be too much longer before I'm confined to the bathroom. Rome, my girlfriend and I decided never to go to sleep angry at each other. We've been awake since Friday. Michelle Maynard, I was convinced Yorkshire tea was grown on the Pennines. I blame you, dear husband. Gilly Bruce Delon, snow is so beautiful, but the mess it leaves is awful. Will our strays recover? Lots of trees have fallen with the weight of the snow.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Should we or shouldn't we talk about these? Due to the Trump effect, is YMCA now in the same league as a Gary Glitter song? The new BBC chairman, Richard Sharp, has donated over £400,000 to the Conservative Party. Who had their Sunday morning ruined by seeing Lord Sumption on their screens and his outrageous suggestions? One final thought. You must have seen the global radio advert that show all their different brands and radio stations with music of Queen and Radio Gaga playing in the background. Is it just me who thinks Radio Gaga is a derogatory term for something a bit bland and boring, or is it a tongue-in-cheek advert? From a website called Songfacts, Roger Taylor of Queen, who wrote this as a critique of radio stations which were becoming commercialised and playing the same songs over and over. And this was before radio was deregulated, allowing companies to own multiple stations in a market, resulting in more corporate ownership, less competitions, and generally bad radio.
This is the Shorter Than Short podcast with Mike Kelly.
Congrats and happy anniversary to Wikipedia on its 20th anniversary. Wikipedia was launched on the 15th of January 2001 by James Whale and Larry Sanger. Sanger coined its name by a portmanteau of wiki and encyclopedia, and it was initially an English language-based encyclopedia, but versions in other languages were quickly developed.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
Okay, it's time to go. Guess the song. What song are these lyrics from? Jealousy, turning saints into the sea, swimming through sick lullabies. Name the song or artiste. It was The Killers and Mr. Brightside. Guess the celebrity, born 21st of February 1976. He is an English comedian, writer and TV presenter. In 2012, he was the highest grossing stand-up comedian in the world. He resides in Hampstead with his aromatherapist wife, Kitty. Who is he? Michael Hazen James McIntyre. That's enough for this edition of the crazy Shorter Than Short Shabby podcast show. From me, Mike Kelly, thank you for listening. Please take care out there, and remember, you can always find the podcast by searching or shouting Mike DJ Kelly Podcast.
This is the Mike DJ Kelly podcast. This is the Mike Kelly podcast.
Mike Kelly.